Hello, lovelies. I do sincerely apologize about being late. I just finished eating and I just needed a second to kind of breathe for a second after I ate. So I apologize for being late. I know it's a slight inconvenience because I do try to be on time, but my husband made dinner a bit late, so I sincerely apologize for being late. I'm just making sure. I see comments on my phone, but I'm not sure how long they're gonna last, so I'm gonna keep my computer up and open just in case. That way everything's good to go. Hello, Sharon. I'm just waiting for a couple more people to pop on before I get started. Hello, lovely Carol. Hi, Haley. Hello, Mary. Hello, everyone. I am doing okay. Again, I'm sorry about being late. Alright, so let's get into it since we got some people jumping in. And of course, I got some questions ready for you lovely ladies. So let's get into it. So let's look at soul retrieval and spirit work, an in-depth guide. I want you to just kind of pay attention to how this guide differs from my normal notes, because I want you guys to look at this, and I'll get into it a bit later too, but I want you guys to look at this guide versus my other ones, kind of like a layer base, if that makes sense. So, oh, hi Crystal! So lovely to have you. But yeah, I really want you guys to just kind of look at my notes as a cake for this one. And I know that sounds so weird to say, but it'll help you just kind of see it easier. So this can get very, I wouldn't say dark, but it can be dark depending on how you look at certain things. So I wouldn't necessarily put this one with the shadow work series, but I would just keep in mind that this can and will be very dark depending on your past and your background. So I want to make that very clear right now before jumping in. So what is soul retrieval truly? What is the basis of it? Soul retrieval at its very core is a very deeply spiritual, energetic, and psychological healing practice aimed at recovering pieces of a person's soul core and essence that have been lost, fractured, or trapped due to traumatic events, spiritual imbalance, chronic stress, or even soul level wounding. These pieces of the soul are not metaphorical. They're the actual aspects of your consciousness, capable of being remembered, felt, interacted with, and reintegrated. In traditional animistic and shamanic worldviews, soul fragmentation is the natural survival response that happens. If something is too painful, unbearable, or energetically dangerous, part of the soul may split off to protect the rest of the self. But over time, this protective fragmentation becomes disconnection, numbness, disempowerment, or chronic emotional and physical symptoms. Soul retrieval often involves locating these parts and understanding why they left, negotiating their return, and creating a safe container for reintegration. It is a sacred union with your own essence. So, if you guys remember back to my shamanism live, you kind of know a rough estimate of it, right? So here comes your first question. Why do you think soul retrieval is important in spiritual healing? I want you guys to really think on this one too. But once again, why do you think soul retrieval is important in spiritual healing? I'm going to be jumping back and forth because I'm not sure how long the comments are going to last on my phone. Ooh, I cannot wait for those candles, Crystal. So as I'm waiting for that response, I'm going to go ahead and kind of kick into spirit work and what's known as the web beneath the soul. So, wait. Because it allows you to face what has traumatized you. In a way, yes. Not sure this topic is new and I've been learning healing differently. Okay. Alright, loves. So, where soul retrieval focuses on the self, spirit work is about the relationship to the unseen web of life. This includes all intelligent, conscious, non-human beings that exist within the spiritual ecosystems of the earth and beyond. These are your ancestral spirits, both known and forgotten, plant and animal spirits, land spirits and genus loci, celestial, infernal, elemental, and liminal entities, the dead, including unect or restless souls as they are called, and personal spirit guides, guardians, and familiars. Now, if you know me, you know I don't consider pets my familiars. I did a wonderful live when I first started this group on why they're not. But we won't dig into that right now. But just keep in mind that is what the some of the ecosystems within the web is. Spirit work means also learning to communicate, collaborate, negotiate, and heal with these spirits. It involves language beyond words, sensing, dreaming, pattern tracking, divination, intuition, and sometimes full-blown mediumship or even trance work. In the context of soul retrieval, spirit work provides protection during these journeys, direction on where the soul parts are being held, companionship in liminal spaces, energetic aid in safety reintegrating those parts, and validation that your experiences are very real. This especially is important when soul loss is not caused solely by trauma, but also by soul contracts, karmic debts, curses, ancestral wounds, and even spiritual interface, and all the realms that spirit allies help navigate. I will get back to comments here in a minute, I promise. So why does soul loss happen? Soul loss is simply not a reaction to trauma. It can happen subtly, it can happen quietly, or even generationally. The key causes of this, the key expanded causes of this, I should say. Oh, hello, Ellen, how are you, beautiful? So trauma is a big one. This can be physical, emotional, and psychological. This could be assault, abuse, or accidents, war, oppression, natural disasters, prolonged emotional neglect or instability in a child, and trauma pushes these parts of the soul into hiding for protection. These parts remain energetically frozen in the moment of pain as they happen. Then you have spiritual shock, which is contact with malevolent or overpowering spirits that you are not ready for. And I'm pretty sure if Crystal's still on here, she can agree. This is why it is so important that you research absolutely everything you can. Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm still researching demons. There's a shit ton of information on demons. But without knowing a very good basic or, you know, a generalized idea of what I am doing, I'm not gonna touch them, because that is where spiritual shock comes from. Or for example, if you guys remember my interview that I did, oh my god, a long time ago. Remember that spirit that I was telling you guys that got attached and it's never left? It's still here. That is also a spiritual shock, because no matter how many times I banish it, it keeps coming back. So, like, please, please, please do not contact anything that you are not ready for, because I promise you, it can and it will come and bite you. Sorry, little rant over. Also, this is a huge big one too, because it is so important that you are careful, especially crossing into an astral or liminal space before being ready. If you do not have the correct basis for astral travel and you are leaving your body, I said this in my last live, I'll say it again, you are opening yourself for something to creep in, and that can be a soul loss as well. Apparently me, Sharon, okay, because it started out as a very malevolent spirit. Mind you, this happened when I was living in the swamp areas of Bayou close to almost a decade ago. So my mentor at the time, beautiful woman, she didn't even know I was doing it. I did it all on my own. I did some stuff, I'm not gonna get too far into it, and I have a spirit that just never leaves. Now, the funny thing is, it started as a very bad thing. But as we've slowly integrated energies and all sorts of time together, it slowly became a guardian of mine. Will it ever leave? Probably not until I die, but it's there for now, and I'm fine with her and she's fine with me. It just, sometimes that happens, and things happen in very weird time and energy, and sometimes you can't control it. But that one I could. Anyway, so getting back. Another one of spiritual shock is being cursed or soul-bound without the awareness of it. These incidents rupture your body's energy, leaving holes where power leaks out or is taken. Which, Crystal, if you're still on here, that's actually really funny, because you keep mentioning that there's a tear somewhere. Spiritual shock, my love. No, I'm joking. But self-abandonment or even internal betrayal is another big one. These fall into choosing safety over truth too often, suppressing emotions for others' comfort, denying parts of your identity, whether that be your purpose or your desire. And soul loss can even happen every time you silence yourself. It just happens to add up. So that is why, at least in my craft, it is so important to speak your truth. Because I will not be losing any more of myself to anybody that does not care. That's how I see it. That's how I take it. I am so sorry if I am being sassy today. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm sorry. Another big one is grief and loss. These are deaths of a loved one, unprocessed grief, especially across timelines, or even guilt over survival or longing. Grief sometimes entails that the soul is with the dead. Sometimes a part of you goes with them to help guide them. Then you have your past life or karmic fracture. These are your traumatic past lives, death or vow, carrying ancestral or generational wounds in your energy field, magical trauma, such as being punished for your power, and these often require timeline level healing or contract dissolutions, which we'll get into a bit later. So, question number 2, since we've gone over the general basis. I'll do this one. What does soul loss mean to you personally or culturally, depending on your background? Yeah, it's weird, and it's funny because I've called her my banshee for a good long while now, because that's the energy that I felt when it first popped up. It was a very sad entity. It was very, like, it had been missing something, you know? But yeah, as we've grown and it's just changed, it still has its moments. Oh, sorry, Mary. So the question was, what does soul loss mean to you personally or culturally? Yeah, ancestral wounds are very rough. Yes, I 100% agree, Crystal. Working from the ground up is best. Even if it seems slow, it does have a purpose. Look, I'm not trying to be sassy. Yeah. Do you guys need me to repeat the question one more time? Because for each section, I have at least 4 questions. Ooh, soul loss is like an empty vessel, wandering without purpose. And it can be. It very well can be. Losing touch with yourself, your heritage, and culture. Okay. Either your soul is lost, has been taken, or sold to an entity. Ooh, that's an interesting take. Maybe a loss of the twin sibling or twin flame. Okay. Well, let's get into it, because we got a little bit before we get into section 2. Mind you, there are 7 sections in total, but 53 pages of notes. So, I've been putting in the hustle and the work, guys. Alright, so why does soul retrieval and spirit work so well together? Simply because these practices are not only for healers, witches, or shamans. They are for literally anyone who feels they've lost touch with themselves or the world. People often turn to this work because they feel spiritually or emotionally disconnected, or are stuck in repeating life patterns. They have unresolved trauma, especially from childhood or past lives, or they simply can't feel love, joy, or purpose. Maybe they have trouble remembering parts of their life, or they feel like something is missing, but they can't name what. Many also experience the call of the ancestors, spirit dreams or visitors, spontaneous gifts, such as channeling, mediumship, or even energy sensing. A deep yearning for something more real, more whole in a way. But these are all signs that your soul is ready to return, that is. Remember and reconnect. So here's how to use this guide when you want to look at it for future reference. This guide is both a spiritual map and a living spell book. So here's how you're gonna want to approach it. You're gonna want to look at the elements first, and the elements are history, soul anatomy, retrieval methods, spirit work, integration, and advanced practices. And then you're gonna want to look at the purpose of them. These are to give your roots to the practice and avoid, danger, essentially. To understand how fragmentation occurs and how to repair it. To guide you through solo, ritual, and spirit-assisted healing. To teach discernment, communication, and relationships. To help the work become sustainable, safe, and sacred for you. And to explore karma, entity work, and the soul beyond time. Ladies, I repeat this in every single live. The path is non-linear. It's not going to be easy. You may begin with gentle dream work and then deepen into ancestral repair. Then return to healing your inner child soul parts. It just really depends on you. But it is so best to take it slow. So for your third question, my lovelies, because we're getting close to section 2. Why do you think soul retrieval is important no, I said that already. My bad. How might soul loss show up in someone's life or spirit? One more time. How might soul loss show up in someone's life or spirit? Jumping back to comments real quick. Losing yourself in many ways. I gotcha. Jumping on. Ah, Sarah Lee, you have blessed me with your presence, my lovely lady. I'm happy to have you here. No problem, Carol. Mary says, I know I'm starting to come back to myself as I've been checked out for months and been very scattered. But I never felt my soul was lost or gone, but I definitely felt numb and checked out. And sometimes you won't exactly feel it in the beginning. You might not even notice it at all, most times. Because of the fact that it happens so very often, depending on what you've gone through within this lifetime, or again, through your past lifetimes. So you've just gotta, I wouldn't say meditate on it, but sometimes when you're going down this path, you'll find pieces of yourself that you didn't even know were missing, and that's the beauty of it. Detachment and no direction, depression, yeah. Sarah Lee says, not all paths are the same, not all past lives are the same, and some stay hidden for a very long time. And that 100% agree. Becoming enraged due to jealousy, okay. You're good, Sarah Lee, I know what you meant, babe. Continuing bad ancestral familial patterns, detachment, and not having yourself, or struggling with how things are at the moment. True. I love these guys. So the important thing, again, is that you are building your own language and relationship with your soul and with the spirits who walk beside you. That is why soul retrieval and spirit work so well together. Your last question before we move on to section 2 is, can you share an experience where you felt disconnected from a part of yourself? One more time. Can you share an experience where you felt disconnected from a part of yourself? While you guys are typing, I know I keep fidgeting with my hands, I'm so sorry. we are going to look at the expanded historical and cultural contexts of this. These are your global roots of soul healing and spirit practice. We did kind of go into these in the Shamanism Live, if you guys remember, if you were there. But again, soul retrieval is not new to any part of the spiritual practice. While the language may differ across the regions, whether it's called soul loss, fragmentation, power loss, spirit sickness, or wounding of essence, the core concept of recovering self is deeply rooted in indigenous, ancestral, and occult traditions across the world. This section explores how different cultures have understood the soul, the causes of soul loss, and how healing was performed, often with the aid of spirits, ancestors, and divine intercessors. So again, you have the shamanic traditions, Siberia, Mongolia, and circumpolar regions. Their core beliefs are the soul is made up of multiple parts. It is a free, if you will, soul and a body-bound soul. Soul loss can occur due to fear, trauma, or spiritual interference, and shamans are chosen through spiritual illness or inherited lineage. Healing involves trance journeys to revive the soul part. The soul retrieval process for this one is the shaman enters a trance via drumming, chanting, dancing, or smoking sacred herbs, such as juniper or tobacco. And with the help of spirit allies, these are often animal guides or your ancestor spirits, the shaman travels to the world, either beneath the earth, which is the lower world, or into the sky, the upper world. The shaman finds the missing soul part, negotiates for its return, and brings it back into the body of the sick person, often blown into the crown or the heart chakra. The common signs of soul loss that is believed for this one is listlessness, frequent accidents, long illness, or even spiritual disconnection, nightmares or spirits appearing in dreams, sudden changes in personality. And the Mongolian shamans called this sun soul loss, where the inner fire dims and the person begins to fade from the world. Jumping back to comments. When I was a teen and currently disconnected, just didn't understand why I was so enraged. I'm not gonna read these out loud, but I do love reading them. Oh, Sarah Lee, I love that. Alright. First question is section 2. How do trauma and soul fragmentation relate? One more time. How do soul trauma and fragmentation relate? As you guys are typing for that, I'm going to go ahead and move into the second one. This is your Mesoamerican and Indigenous Central South American traditions. These are your Aztec and Nahuatl. I hope I'm saying that right. Sometimes I can pronounce it, sometimes I can't. But Carol also has me really practicing some Celtic tongue, so I apologize. But the soul for this one is composed of several parts, including the tonali, which is the vital energy, which can be lost through fright, curse, or even emotional upheaval. Tonali is linked to the sun, blood, and breath, and it is when it leaves the body during sleep or shock. The Mayan culture, which some of my ancestors come from the Mayan culture, but the I hate my tongue's not working. The Shuhal, or the CH, or the Pixan, is the animating soul essence. These soul fragments can be lost due to trauma or susto, which is soul fright, a recognized condition that is treated in many Latin American cultures today. This is where sometimes the egg cleansings come into place. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a minute. The soul retrieval practices for this one is indigenous. Oh my god, I can't speak today. Curandas and shamans use limpas, or spiritual cleansings, ritual baths, herbal smoke, egg cleansings, and soul calling prayers. Shamans often perform ritual negotiations with the spirit world using mirrors, stones, cornmeal, or even fire as mediums. And the retrieval might involve singing or whispering the soul's name back into the person's body. In Andean Quiro tradition, the earth priests may work with Apu, which is the mountain spirits, to help call back fragments lost in the highlands or sacred rites. Then you have your African and Afro diasporic systems, which is your Yoruba, which is Nigeria, and your Ifa. The human breath has multiple spiritual components: the Ori, which is the spiritual head and destiny, the Emi, which is breath, and the Eldia, which is the creator-given soul. Spiritual imbalance or illness occurs when the Ori is out of alignment. And the Babualdo, which is the diviners and priestesses, consult Ifa or Orsha through divination to guide healing. The soul restoration includes ritual baths, offering ancestor venerations, possession ceremonies, and realignment with one's path, not past, sorry. I'm just catching up with comments real quick. I've heard that too, and I'm hoping to see it one day, Ellen. Moving on, we have our Afro-Caribbean traditions. These are your Vodou, Santeria, and Candomblé. Oh my god, I can't speak. Never mind. But the soul, sometimes called the Gros Bon Anji or the T-Bon Anji, can be displaced by shock, betrayal, or even magical attacks. The practitioners call the soul back using sacred drumming and dance, possession by Iwa or Orshia, who cleanse and rebalance, offering baths and rituals chanting as well. And the ancestral realm is always involved in healing. Spirits of the dead walk with the living and guide the healing to protect the soul from harm. In Vodou, which is V-O-D-O-U, not voodoo, the dead are not distant. They are in a constant relationship. The soul loss is healed through ritual reintegration with one's lineage. Then you have the Chinese and East Asian etheric systems, which is your Taoism. The humans are composed of multiple souls. You have your Hun, or the Yang souls, which is your ethereal rise upward after death, and then your Po, which is your Yin souls, which is your corporal linked to the body and the earth. Illness occurs when the Hun and Po become imbalanced, or if the Shen, spirit consciousness, is distributed by the emotional trauma and spiritual pollution. Healing for this one, the soul restoration includes Qigong, which is to circulate energy through meridians. talismans, spirit seals, and ancestral invocations. Offerings to the guardian spirits, the kitchen god, or dragon spirits. Meditation, breath work, or even inner alchemy to symbolize essence. And in East Asian Buddhism, you have the karmic knots and vows from past lives that can affect the soul's present alignment. Meditation and mantra are used to purify and call back the soul energy. Then you have your European and folk witchcraft traditions. While the language of the soul retrieval was not always explicit, the folk magic and cunning traditions of Europe often practiced forms of it. Here comes your question number 2. What are some subtle or hidden signs that soul loss might be affecting a person? Again, what are some subtle or hidden signs that might be affecting a person? As you guys are typing, and they jump back into it. So you have your Celtic traditions, which are, the soul was seen as an extension of the land and family line. The other world, I'm not even gonna attempt it, but it's there, was accessible through sacred groves, burial mounds, and even mists where the soul pieces or the lost loved ones might linger. Seers or wise women acted as intermediaries with the fae, ancestors, and gods. And then you have charm work, keening, spirit flight, and dream incubation, where common methods of soul healing were. Then, thank you, Crystal, for always saying it every time. You have your Norse Seidr. I keep wanting to roll my R's. But thank you, Crystal, because I always hear this out of your mouth. So, you have the soul called the Hamar, or the Philagia. I know I butchered that. I'm sorry. I try, guys. I really do. But it could be injured or separated during spiritual crisis. You have your Volvas, or your Seersis, performed trance divination and soul reconnection rites. You have your spirit flight and shape shifting. These were used to retrieve wisdom and power across the realms through Midgard, Hell, etc. Then you have your Slavic witchcraft, which are your Baba Yagas, and forest spirits were considered guardians of soul transitions. You have your Domovoi, which is your house spirits and ancestor veneration, where key to spiritual protection and inner soul stability reign. Then you have your indigenous North America cosmologies. These includes dozens of distinct cultural practices with shared principles. The shared beliefs are the soul is made of multiple parts, often including the breath, the shadow, the name, and the dream self. Soul loss, often called lost spirits or spirit sickness, can happen after trauma, disrespecting spirits, or even failing to follow one's sacred path. Essentially, you mimicking someone else. Like, you are not doing your own thing. You are following somebody else's footprints to a T, if that makes sense. Healing practices that were done for this were sweat lodges and vision quests to reconnect with one's spirit. Healing songs, rattles, and a pipe smoke and ritual calling back of the soul. In some tribes, soul retrieval was accompanied by a dream interpretation or community ceremony, and working with animal spirits or spirit twins. It is a concept similar to spirit guides. A Lakota elder once said, "We do not own our souls. They belong to the great mystery, and we are only borrowing them." I absolutely love that. I had to include it. Oh man, I'm sorry. Thank you for telling me, love. I will turn that down. Jumping over to comments. Look, I try. I really do. I try. All right, lovelies. Here is your third question. How can knowing about soul fragmentation shift your approach to healing in your current path? Once again, how can knowing about the soul fragmentation shift your approach to your healing path? Again, as you guys are typing in, I'm going to continue going. If you need me to redo the question, I'm more than happy to. So moving on to a bit more now. You have your contemporary and Celtic Western practices. These are your modern soul retrieval integrates, which is the Jungian, I hope I said that right, psychology, which is shadow work and inner child healing. You have your guided visualization and energy healing, Reiki, Theta? No. Not bottle, but Theta. I hope I'm saying that right. Healing, magical trance work, which is your witchcraft, chaos magic, ceremonial magic. Dream work and past life regression with hypnotherapy and Akashic records. Trauma-informed ritual, which is somatic, spiritual, and nervous system based, which is really interesting. Sorry, I see a lot of people. Same here, Crystal. Also, if you guys are wondering what I'm petting over here, I just realized I keep like petting it. It's a pelt I got from Sarah Lee. Sometimes it helps keep me focused. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, okay, so it's Jungian? Did I say it right, Mary? I probably messed it up depending on that emoji right there. Oh, no, Elliot. I haven't had a cat in a little while, so. No, it's just a bunny pelt. I mean, I could bring out my bunny, but she's not the same color. She'd blend in with my desk. Okay, sorry. Moving on. So your last and final question before we jump into section 3 is, what personal or cultural beliefs about the soul's influence how we see soul loss? Again, what personal or cultural beliefs about the soul's influence is how we see soul loss? Okay. I'm gonna get this right while you guys are typing. Jung is pronounced Jungian. Jungian. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm still probably not saying that right. I apologize. But moving a bit on for me. These approaches acknowledge the metaphysical and psychological roots of soul wounding. They blend ancient animism with new understandings of trauma, identity, and agency. And it uses journaling, inner child work, and parts to work to hold the space for the returned soul parts. Section 3 is mapping the layers of self and spirit. This is an expanded version of the autonomy of the soul, if you will. So as we keep deep diving, what is the soul? We hear soul, we think it's a part of our spirit, we think it's, this higher thing, right? But the word soul is often used as a catch-all but in advanced spiritual work, especially soul retrieval and spiritual healing. The soul must be understood as a multi-layered, living energetic system. The soul is not one thing. It is a woven being of light, memory, experience, essence, and spiritual function. It connects to the divine, incarnates through lifetimes, and carries the imprint of everything you've lived and everything you've yet to become. Crystal around energy ball. That's one way to think about it. But in many traditions, the soul is not contained within the body. Instead, the body is housed within the field of the soul. The core components of the soul across the traditions. These names vary by culture, but most systems agree on several core elements. One is the essence of self, the core soul, the eternal soul, or the higher self, if you will. This is your divine spark. It is the internal aspect of your being that never fragments. It is also called the Atman in Hinduism, the Ba in Egyptian, the higher self in Western occultism, the Ori Yoba, and the Neshama, which is Kabbalah. And this lives beyond time and trauma. It cannot be wounded, but it can be forgotten. The source of your soul contracts are your life purpose, spiritual memory, and connects you to the gods, ancestors, and cosmic memory. In soul retrieval, the aspect is usually the one guiding you from healing from the top down. Your core self calls back the lost fragments when you're ready. You'll hear me say when you are ready a lot, because it really does happen when you are ready. You could tell yourself you're ready all day, and it still won't happen until you are actually ready. So if you hear me repeating myself, I apologize. But you have the fragmenting self, which is the embodied soul, the emotional body, or the shadow. Man. The emotional and psychic aspects of your soul that directly experience in this lifetime. This is when the soul loss occurs, especially in childhood wounds, heartbreak, abandonment, betrayal, identity suppression, or even spiritual trauma. These fragments are stored memories, feelings, identities, and even physical symptoms, and they can often visualized in journey work as a child or a teen version of yourself, an animal or elemental being, a shadow of self or mirror double, or even a bound or caged version of you. In soul retrieval, you will often journey to speak with this fragment, to learn its story, and even offer it a safe return. I'm going to tell you right now, it is the hardest fucking thing to do. And it really depends on what you've gone through. With me, I can barely get through my teen self. And there's a lot of reasons why. And it's not for a lack of trying, it's all the anger that I built up over the years that I was always told to bottle away. That I would just get over it, and I never did. I haven't even begun to work on my child self because my teen self is still wanting blood and war and wanting to hurt those who have hurt me. And it's hard. I am not lying. It is hard to do. You've really got to be ready. You can't just pick it up and put it down. You got to keep going. So just keep in mind, your past will come back to haunt you in whatever way it can. And I'm not saying it as a bad thing, but I'm saying it more as if you really want to go down this path, this is where it will come back to haunt you. Moving on, you have the spirit double, which is your astral self, your dream walker, or your energy body. The self that travels in dreams, trance, ancestral or astral work, and even spirit journeys. This can separate from your physical body while you're sleeping or during trauma. This is what I said. You gotta you gotta be careful. Make sure you have something that can connect you back to your physical body. This is often called Ka in Egyptian, dream body in Siberian shamanism. I'm not gonna try it because it's Norse, but it's Fylgja. Fylgja. Or the estric body in Western occultism, essentially. This is the part that can wander or even become displaced if not anchored thoroughly. So please, please, please be careful. This happens when trauma, especially dissociation, happens, energetic cords or bindings, intense magical or psychic work, or even soul parts hiding within the dream realm. In the soul retrieval for this particular one, you may need to follow the spirit double into forgotten dreams, alternate timelines, or even dreams of symbolic logic. The fourth one is the mental soul. This is your cognitive self or identity construct, and it helps hold your narrative of self or of who you believe you are. This governs your sense of I in memory, logic, and constructed identity, and can be fragmented by gaslighting, mental health crisis, abuse that warps your perception of reality, or even disconnection from family, cultural, or name. When damaged, people may experience identity confusion, memory holes, disconnection from joy or truth, inability to visualize a future. And in healing this part in soul retrieval, this often involves working with names, words, writing, storytelling, and again, reclaiming your true voice. Yeah, the anger never leaves, Sarah. I can agree with that. We'll get into that here in a little bit, Carol. And if not, remind me so I can come back to it. Next up is number 5, which is the ancestral soul. You have your lineage soul and your blood memory. This carries the living memory of your family and your spiritual ancestors and contains both gifts and trauma from your line. This may be fractured through generational abuse or neglect, migration of loss or homeland, broken ancestral traditions, colonization, war, genocide, or the denial of ancestry, whether that's voluntary or forced. Signs this layer is active is when you feel haunted by your family patterns, you dream of people you don't know, you sense your wounds aren't all yours, or you may feel pulled to honor traditions that you were never taught. In soul retrieval, this layer is often involves your spirit guide assistance through ancestral altars, dream visions, and even shadow work. Then you have your karmic or the past life soul. This is known as the timeless soul or the other selves of your soul. This one holds the memories and wounds of other lifetimes on soul expressions. These parts may be trapped in past events, bound by a vow, echoing across lifetimes, and even splintering across timelines. This can be accessed through deep journeying work, hypnosis and regression, spiritual dreams, spirit-led visions, either shown by a deity or a guide. And examples of this are a past life death that split your sense of safety, a vow of silence or poverty still binding you, or even a part of a soul hiding in the old identity, such as a witch, priest, mortar, or even a warrior. In soul retrieval, these parts are often appear as a very old, formal, or even symbolic. You may need to break contracts or release old karma before they return. How soul fragmentation happens. Again, soul fragmentation is not a flaw. It is not something to fear. It is not something that is bad, but it is a survival mechanism. It occurs when the experience is too overwhelming to integrate. the environment is unsafe for authenticity, or the soul must split off a part of itself to protect the rest of it. Common triggers to this, again, are sudden shock or violence, childhood neglect, disowning parts of the self, such as shame, identity, truth, prolonged fear, powerlessness, or grief, spiritual rupture, either through a psychic attack, haunting, or a curse, and generational and ancestral trauma. Each time you abandon or lose a part of yourself to survive, it goes somewhere. It does not vanish. It just waits for you to call it back home. Is everything I'm saying making sense for you guys so far? I always wonder. I always wonder and I always worry. I've been feeling that a lot, Sarah Lee. I really have. Along with the questions of, are you good enough? Are you doing enough? Am I ever going to get past it? It's hard. Which is why I wanted to bring this topic to light. So where do soul parts go? In journey or retrieval work, you may find soul fragments in symbolic or spirit locations such as a forest or a cave, whether it's physical or it is, what is the other one? Oh, I can't think. Whether it's physical or it's in your mind. I can't think of the word though. But the symbolic meaning of this is it may be hidden memory or even childhood innocence that you find. A mirror world would be the symbolic meaning of a shadow self or unintegrated identity. A cage or prison, which is your trauma or repressed part. Underwater, which what's really funny is I don't know if you guys remember, Sarah Lee did a very wonderful live on dream work. And this kind of goes hand in hand. And here's where it goes hand in hand. Because while you may not find it in a physical location, this is what I was talking about. If you could not find it in a physical location, it can sometimes come into your dreams, and those dreams have very symbolic meanings. And if you are underwater, I know I've had a couple of dreams where it felt like I was drowning and I had to really wake up. But the symbolic meaning of it was emotional suppression or even grief that I just hadn't worked through yet. So you've just really just open yourself. If you happen to find yourself in the ancestral realm, you may want to look into the meaning of family pattern or even an inherited wound that you didn't know about. The dream realm or void, disassociation or even astral loss, or held by an entity, is your interference or stolen soul energy. Some parts may refuse to return until safety is rebuilt, the body is ready, forgiveness or grief has been processed, or a past contract is broken, or a spirit guide intervenes. How do you know which layer you're working with? There are little clues that like to pop up from time to time, if you will. The clue of reoccurring dreams and altered time could be the possible soul layer of a spirit double or even a past life self. The childhood version of you is the emotional or shadow soul. New thoughts or behaviors is your mental or identity layer. Your ancestral voices or grief is your lineage soul. Your sacred or divine themes is your core soul or higher self. You'll often feel the shift when the soul part does come home. And it's really hard to explain, but here are some of the ones that I've felt so far. The emotional rising like a tide, and sudden insight or memory, a sense of warmth, relief, or even rightness, or even tears or trembles followed by peace. Sometimes I'll cry and I don't even know what the hell I'm crying for. And that's what I'm talking about. But you must keep in mind keep in mind it's more like a web and not a stack. Finally, you really have to understand that the soul is not linear. It is a web, it is an ecosystem, it is a living consciousness, and I will get so passionate about this because it is woven through your mind, body, spirit, ancestors, timelines, guides, and even your own magic. And each part of it is alive with its own memory, its own feeling, its own story and desire. Oh, guys, I could get so passionate. But soul retrieval means that you are becoming the weaver of your own essence again. And it is such a beautiful, such a very hard thing to learn and unlearn and just do. So, sorry. Sorry about my little rant. So right now we are on section 4. We are going to look at the expanded soul retrieval practices. These are your methods, tools, journeys, and symbolic reunions. So why method matters. Every soul fragment is unique. And again, some return easily, while others may hide, resist, test you, or even carry the heavy memories that you're not ready to remember just yet. You must learn to be both a healer, negotiator, spirit walker, and a storyteller. The method you choose should match the nature of the soul and the terrain it lives in, which we will get into that. There is no, and I mean this so very heavily, there is no one size fits all formula. There's not. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you there is, because there's not. What it really follows is it follows a ritual map of several retrieval styles, each suited to different needs and levels of experience from your own path. I love you all. I do. But I'm going to be honest with you. If you try to work your way around it and you try to cut corners and you try to lie to yourself, that part is never going to come back. It may come back in the next life. It may come back when you stop, and excuse my French, it may come back when you stop your shit and you start working how you need to. But you can't cut corners with it. You just can't. I'm gonna jump on comments because I haven't been seeing them. I'm so sorry. Yeah, the unlearning is the hardest downfall, and I agree. Crystal says, what if the soul is used to being all in one? What if it's used to doing everything, even if it can't stop? I hate to tell you, love, but that's when you make it stop. You make yourself take that break. You make yourself sit down. And the reason why is because it's just like when you sit down and meditate, your soul needs to sit down and meditate and take that breath to unwind. If it's constantly tightened up, it's going to keep running how it is. And that's when you start feeling burnt out. And that's when you start getting really, really easily upset, if you will. And you start pulling away from things. But if you give yourself a second to breathe, it'll surely fall back to where it needs to be. I hope that made sense, love. Again, I am not trying to be sassy in any way. I am so sorry if I'm coming off that way. Exactly, Ellen. The lies you told yourself in past lives may be the part that it's waiting on for you to come back to get. Exactly. Thank you, Sarah Lee. Sarah Lee says you have to force yourself to let go. Let someone else do it, even if it's for your own peace. I'm sorry, Crystal. I wasn't meaning to. I really wasn't, babe. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna move on. I'm being too much. I feel myself being too much, and I'm sorry. So, again, starting with number 1, it is the journey-based retrieval. This is you're using trance states to locate and retrieve lost soul fragments. How it works is you enter an altered state either through breath, sound, rhythm, or even a guided visualization. Speaking of which, I should get with Sarah about this, because she does some mean visualization meditations. I see your comment, Crystal. But it also travels with you, with your spirit guides, to locate and retrieve the missing part of your soul. This method is rooted in traditional shamanic practice, but is also adapted for solo seekers. The tools you would need for this is a drum or a rattle, whether it's live or you are listening to a recording of it, eye covering or a blindfold. You need a quiet or dim space, sacred protection circle or sigil. You also will need your anchor objects. What I mean by anchored objects is crystals, a water bowl, a candle, an offering to a guide or deity. Whatever you need to anchor yourself, make sure you have it before you are doing this. And of course, optional herbal tea. I'm a huge tea girly, so is a lot of people here. But I'm gonna say this right now. Crystal, I love you, babe. But you know your Om tea? I use it for this. And here's why. Because to me, the Om tea that Crystal makes, and if you've ever had it, chef's kiss. If you haven't, go try it. I'm putting her shameless plug here now. But the reason why I use it is because it is such a grounding tea, and it helps me be anchored while also giving me the herbal effects to transcend higher, if you will, if that makes sense. But normally these herbal teas are made of mugwort, blue lotus, and passion flower, or a smoke blend to open your perception. I feel them today. Like, they are strong and they are not backing down, Sarah Lee. But what you're gonna want to do, going back to my notes, sorry. But what you're gonna want to do for the steps of this is you are going to want to prepare. Okay? You're going to set your sacred space and create a grounding energy field. You are going to call in your spirit guides or guardians for protection, and you are going to state that intention. If you do not state your intention, it'll come and bite you in the ass, okay? I love you all, but I want you to be safe. So what you're gonna do, and you can fill in the blanks or you can write your own, whatever may you loves. But what you want to do when you state your intention, for example, I journeyed to find the lost soul part I lost when I was blank. You can fill in the blanks or you can write your own, but that's just a basic one that I like using sometimes. And then you are going to descend. You are going to begin rhythmic drumming or breath work in this sense, where you do a 4-count inhale and a 4-count exhale. You are going to visualize entering a portal through tree roots, a cave, a mirror, water, gates, whatever feels comfortable for you. And you are going to allow the scene to unfold. You may arrive in a symbolic landscape. You may arrive in a very rocky mountain space. It really just depends on you. Then you are going to encounter. This part is the hard part for me. And the reason why is because you are wanting to watch, and I do mean watch, for beings or versions of yourself. They'll make themselves known, and you'll know it when you see it. but they may also trick you and show other things with it. So you've got to really pay attention. But the versions of yourself may come in as a child, an animal, or a masked figure. And you must ask, are you a part of me? Are you what is missing? Some parts will speak or even gesture, and others may need coaxing or even healing before they come back to you. Then you are going to reunite yourself. This is where you invite the part home only with consent, because if you don't have it, it will not come. You are going to merge through embrace, breath, light, or symbolic ritual, and you are going to return this through the same portal. Please, 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 please be safe, because other portals will pop up and you really need to make sure that you are going through the same one. So if you have to, while you are meditating, mark it. Whether that's you see yourself writing on it with chalk or, carving something into it, make sure you mark it. That way you know it is the same portal that you are going through. Sorry. But the other reason why you want to make sure it's the same portal is because you are bringing the energy back into your body. Then you are going to do the integration ritual. This is where you drink water, eat grounding food, and you rest. You journal everything. It's alright, Gina. It's so lovely to have you, babe. Then you are going to light a candle or offer something to the part who has returned to you. Perform a simple sealing, saying, I welcome you home, you are safe, we remember. Or you could write your own. It can get tricky, guys. But some helpful spirit allies that you, if you want to work on with this, the animal guides that can help you the most. Again, these are just my own. Although I do not work with Anubis, but I thought he might be good to put in here because I hear he's really, really great for this. I personally do not work with him. I work with the other two, however. But the animal guides that you may want to look into are the fox, owl, bear, and wolf. The psychopomp deities that you may want to look into are Hecate, Anubis, and Santa Muerte. And then your plant spirits. I will be redoing this live. Keep an eye out. But plant spirits will be your mugwort, yarrow, and even rose. Then you have your dream-based retrieval, which is calling soul parts back through dream work, incubation, and even spirit-led sleep. Jumping back to comments real quick. Oh, I'm missing a crap ton. I know. Every time I start thinking about shadow work, my deities are like, hey, you need to do it. Do it. And then I'll get, a smack. I'm just catching up on comments, making sure I'm not missing anything. And that's the thing, Carol. This type of work, it's meant to get you out of that comfort zone. It's meant to really, get on your nerves, if you will. And not in a bad way, but in a, you need to push past it. But I understand. I understand what you're saying. Ooh, what's a shrunty box? I hope I... Guys, I need to work on my pronunciation, okay? Exactly, I agree. They won't get sick of you. They are your guides because they've chose to be. They chose to guide you, and I agree. Yes, if it is a musical instrument, you can use it instead of a drum if you so choose. But make sure that it is at least trance-inducing, if that makes sense. Right. There really are. Alright, loves, I'm gonna jump back into it. Because at 9 o'clock, depending on how far we get, I'm gonna go ahead and shut this live off. I'm just letting you guys know in advance. But right now we are on page 23 of 53. This, if it is broken into parts, it will not be next month, but it will be sometime in August that I get this finished for you guys. Okay, so moving on. How it works is dreams are natural soul realms, and here's why. Many soul fragments live within the dream space where they loop through old memories, symbolic images, or even realms of emotion. You can request to find them while you're sleeping or even lucid dreaming. The tools you would need for this one is a dream journal, mugwort, lavender, blue lotus, or even valerian. Whether it's a tea, a sachet, or even oil. Those are the main herbs you want. Ritual before bed. You can do a candle, a prayer, or ancestral invocation. For this one, I tend to invoke Nyx. She is the primordial goddess of the night, and she is also another great psychopomp deity. Because she is the darkness. She's not one to play. And plus, before I go to bed, I typically dab my wrists in lavender oil in honor of her to protect me while I am sleeping. But just a little thing. You can also put it under your pillow, such as a protective stone, a written question, or even a spirit sigil to protect you. The methods you want to do for this one is you want to create a dream incubation ritual. What I mean by that is where you are writing, "Tonight I seek a part of myself I lost when blank." Place it under the pillow or near the bed and ask your dream guides to open the path. You are going to really, really want to pay attention. This is where, if you haven't already, go check out Sarah Lee's dream interpretation. It is freaking fantastical. She gives such beautiful information, but seriously, go check it out. Because this is where dream interpretation comes into this line of the work. You are going to want to pay attention to repeated locations, whether you are going back and forth to a house, to school, tunnel, void, anything. You want to really pay attention. You are going to also want to pay attention to the children, animals, versions of yourself in disguise, or things that you keep like looking over your shoulder on. That may be what you are looking for. You may also want to look and pay attention to being stuck, caged, or even lost, or guides pointing toward a door, mirror, or even an object. When you wake up, please record every detail. Perform the integration in the dream ended in reunion. And if not, use the dream as a map for waking the journey work for later on. I feel you, Crystal. I get zombies sometimes too, and I'm like, what the hell, man? But the variations of this part of the work is lucid dreaming to directly request reunion, guided dream work with plant spirits or even deity invocation, and soul altars built with dream imagery for calling that part home to you. Your guys' comments are killing me. Symbolic ritual retrieval. This is using object magic. effigies. I can never say that word. I always hope I say it right. And some sympathetic spell work to draw soul parts back. How this particular one works is the method works well when, you can't journey or trance deeply. And you want to work it over time. This is, again, for example, with grief or long trauma history, or you just want to focus on one part of yourself, like your inner child, your silenced voice, or even your sexual sovereignty? No. Sovereignness. We'll just go with sovereignness, okay? The tools that you'll want for this one is candle. You really want to pick either black or white, depending on if you are a light worker or a shadow worker, or you just don't care. I don't care. So one can be black, one can be white, one can be purple. But no, in all seriousness, you want either a black or white, or corresponding to the chakra of the wound. So if you don't know, please go search up what the chakra colors are or how you see them. Then you're going to want to get the effigy, which is a doll figure photo drawing bundle representing the lost part of yourself. Then you're going to want to do herbs or oils. This is rosemary for memory, yarrow for healing, and lavender for safety. And you're going to want to do a ritual circle where spirit allies, sigils, or prayer. The example ritual for this, for an inner child retrieval, if you will, is you're going to want to build a mini altar for the fragment. This includes colors, symbols, objects, that represent the part. It could be toys, keys, photos, poems, it can be anything. But you are going to light the candle as a beacon. To speak aloud or write, you are going to say to the part of me that was left behind when I was age or the situation, I see you now and I call you home. Spend time daily. I mean daily. Light the candle, speak gently, leave offerings or affirmations, and ask in meditation or cards, what do you need to feel safe to return back to me? Then you're going to do integration. Once you feel a shift, emotion, vision, dream, or peace, bury or anoint the effigy and welcome it home fully into your body through ritual, touch, or breath. Soul retrieval, this is mainly for those who find a practitioner or a spirit guide. When to choose this, mainly it's the trauma that feels overwhelming to face alone. You've tried other methods or feel blocked. You suspect entity interference, ancestral bindings, or karmic tethers. And then you want a sacred witness and space holder. The practitioner-led retrieval, it can choose someone with clear ethics, energetic, what is it? Is it hygiene? I think is what it's called. Energetic hygiene and spirit ally support. You want to ask what protections they use and what methods they employ. The main ones you really want to look into are shamanic, mediumistic, psychic, things like that, and how they will help you with the integration. Make sure that you feel safe and in control throughout the entire process, because if not, sometimes what can happen is they can corrupt that soul loss further and send it back farther, and then it makes it a hell of a lot harder to get back. If it is a spirit-led retrieval, if you work closely with the deities, the psychopomps, or even the ancestors, you can request to guide me to what I need to heal. They may lead you into dreams, trance states, or even synchronistic events. Some may bring the part to you rather than requiring you to go fetch it. But if you have deities like Kate, Lilith, Nyx, Aries, they'll make you go get that shit yourself. They'll be like, hey, I'm here for moral support, but you gonna do it yourself. At least that's how they act towards me. I'm just catching up on comments. Poor Gina. What's sad and what's funny that you say that is I was fighting in my sleep, and my husband, he comes in at like 8 o'clock to wake me up with coffee, and I like straight up deck him, and I'm like, I wake up, he's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to punch you. I was not trying to. I still love you and thank you for the coffee. But yeah, waking up swinging, it should be a crime in itself. It really should be. Gina says, without conflict, there's no growth, and growth is painful. It really is. And here lately is so damn tiring. I am tired. I am exhausted. But I still gotta keep pushing forward. But here's some fun ones that I at least find fun. Because I'm always in my cards somewhere. So, the fifth one is retrieval via divination. This is often used to locate the origin of soul loss, identify the nature of the fragment, and determine whether something is ready to return to you. What you are going to need, which crystal, I hope to hear about that dragon board being put to use soon, very soon. I'm joking. But you can use a spirit board. This is for advanced and protected use only, and I'm pretty sure all of you know why I say that. But you can also use tarot, oracle cards, runes, pendulums, scrying mirror, or bowls, which my scrying mirror is always behind me. And always taken down when I really need her, because she's just so beautiful. But looking at a example tarot spread, because that is what I am very strong at, is my tarot. What I like to do is, it is a 5 card spread. And it is what I call the fragment and the path. Or the fragment and the path. The first card will represent where did I lose the soul part. The second part is what form does it currently take. The third part is what lesson did it carry. The fourth card would be what do I need to offer for its return. And the fifth card would be how can I best integrate it. You can use the reading to help guide you or even follow up in a ritual or journey. Integration, and I'm going to say this now, just in case anybody is wondering. Integration is non-negotiable. Every method of retrieval must be followed by it. And the reason why is because it's rest, reflection, and gentle embodiment. It is shadow work and the emotional processing of it. It is energy healing such as breath work, Reiki, or somatic release. And it is ritual cleansing and protection. Otherwise, the part may not stay. It may very well get lost again. Or it can return to you without fully harmonizing. Whew. Guys, we just might make it. Just might make it. We are on 28 of 53, but there are 7 parts altogether. And we are on section number 5. So, looking at the spirit work foundations. These are your allies, your protectors, and the weavers. The web. Oh my god, weave. I'm done with myself. The web weavers of the unseen. We got it out. We got there in the end. Oh. That is very true. I'm just saying, you could use it for this too. Alright, loves. Jumping back in. I have forgotten all about the questions. I am so sorry. I'll ask some more. What role do guides, ancestors, or spirit allies play in retrieval journeys? Again, this one's more of how well you've been paying attention. But what role do guides, ancestors, and spirit allies play in retrieval journeys? I teach myself new words. I make up words. I don't know if you guys have seen Bluey, but trifical is tricky and difficult put together. That is my favorite word right now. Everything is very trifical. All right, lovelies, jumping back in. So spirit work is not just about summoning or petitioning. It is about relationships. It means that living in awareness that you are never truly alone, that you walk among many kinds of spirits, of land lineage, elemental, underworld, and stars. In soul retrieval, these beings often hold the keys, doors, or bridges to healing, and some are companions, some are teachers, others are gatekeepers, challengers, or even guardians of the soul parts that you've long forgotten. This section will explore the full scope of who spirits are and how to work with them in a grounded, respectful, and powerful way, and how they become your allies in healing. The types of spirits you may encounter with each tradition has, again, a variety of categories of spirits, but most fall into the general types. Understanding their nature helps you discern who you're talking with and how to approach them. Spirit guides are your non-physical allies who help you grow, protect, and remember. They are assigned at birth, chosen by your soul, or appear during major transitions. See, Sarah Lee? Your comment was going to pop up before you knew it was going to pop up. They often come in cycles. Some stay for life, others for a season or a lesson. These may be your animal spirits. These are your power animals, your familiars, or your wild soul kin. These are your human-like guides. These are your ancestors, your archetypes, your defined teachers. Then you have your elemental or light beings. These are your pure energy, light codes, or celestial kin. And the roles of them are to assist in journeying retrieval work, offer insight through dreams, divination, and symbols, and serve as intermediaries between you and your higher beings, and warn you when your spiritual hygiene is needed. Offerings to them can be gratitude candles or even written letters, feeding their image if you draw or craft them, or even honoring their signs when they appear, such as listening when a crow calls or a fox appears in your dreams. You have your plant spirits, which is a consensus essence of plants that heal, guide, and teach you. Plants are not just physical allies, but they are your spirits with memory and voice. Some have chosen to partner with humans for healing, protection, and soul work. Your common soul retrieval allies are mugwort, which opens the dream gate and reveals soul paths. Lavender, which softens the heart and invites peace for inner child parts. Rosemary retrieves memory, past life clarity, and sharpens intuition. Yarrow protects the aura and seals the returned soul parts. Blue Lotus, which deepens trance, lifts spirit, and sacred to gods of rebirth. How you can work with them is infusions, teas, and even smoke offerings, under pillow or bath sachets, mediating with plant allies asking, "What do you wish to teach me?" and keeping a journal of what each plant reveals during soul work. Offerings are again water, compost, spoken song, returning their clippings to the earth if need be. Whew, man, this is a lot. I love myself because I want to give you guys everything, but I hate myself because I want to give you guys everything, and I just keep going and I don't stop. Moving on, you have your animal spirits. These are your totem, wild, or ancestral animals who walk beside you. Animal spirits often guard, guide, and even house soul parts. And here is where it can get tricky with them, because they embody the primal wisdom and instinct. This is why I said you can't lie to yourself. They will see through you. And if you get one of your animal spirits that are guarding a part of you and you try to lie to them, they will bite the hand that feeds. And it will be bad. So just, guys, please, please. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this though. But animal spirits will appear in dreams, trances, and rituals, in nature repeatedly or symbolically, and as your guide during retrieval journeys. But if they are guarding it, they'll lead you to it, but they will not let you have it. The common allies that are seen throughout Soul retrievals is the fox for cleverness, transition, and hidden selves. The bear, which is boundaries, trauma healing, and ancestral power. The deer for gentleness, grief, reconnection with innocence. The wolf, loyalty, pack energy, and reclaiming voice. And the snake, shadow healing, renewal, and power. How they can help you is they lead you to hidden parts of yourself. They can defend you in the spirit realm, and they can offer medicine qualities that you need to reintegrate yourself. Offerings that I love to give to them, if I'm working with them, is art, weaving their image, leaving food in their name, and movement, dancing in their energy. Then you have your ancestors and beloved dead. These are your bloodline, affinity, or soul family spirits who walk with you. Not all ancestors are biological. And I'm pretty sure you guys know where I'm going with this. AKA, your chosen family. Some spirits are your spiritual kin or chosen dead who claim you. The types are your blood ancestors. These are your direct lineage, known or unknown. These are your cultural ancestors, those from your heritage, whether or not you know their names. These are your affinity ancestors, those who walked similar paths, these being your witches, healers, or mystics. Or your beloved dead, people you've known and loved who crossed over. Why they matter so much? Many soul wounds are ancestral wounds. They know them better than you do. Your ancestors will often hold or guard soul pieces until you're ready. They protect and intercede, like basically interfere on your behalf in spiritual negotiations if you're not ready. Offerings are your ancestral altar with water, food, smoke, photos, etc. Storytelling and remembering, lighting candles, and healing ancestral trauma through your own body. Then you have your deities, saints, and spirits of the divine realms. These spirits are larger than life. These are archetypical, mythic, and cosmic in scale. They often appear when you're stepping deep into shadow work. A soul wound relates to power, identity, or vows. You carry past life ties to temples, lineages, or divine oaths, and your life path includes sacred service or magical reclamation. Deity types often found in soul work are, again, your psychopomps, which is Hecate, Anubis, Santa Muerte, and Mercury. You have your underworld rulers, such as Persephone, Hades, Hell, and I'm gonna butcher this, and I'm so sorry. Ereshkigal, Ereshkigal. Then you have your healers, which is Brigid, Isis, Sekhmet, and Freya. Then you have your warriors, Ares, Kali, and Athena. Then you have your re-weavers, which is Inanna, Spider Grandmother, the Fates, Arachne, things like that. These beings can often help you locate soul parts in deep realms, break past life contracts, and face fear, shame, and death transformation wounds as well. Offerings are sacred symbols, devotional acts, poetry, altars, silence, and service. Jumping to comments real quick. Oh yeah, 100% Sarah Lee. And sometimes it happens like that. That's why I said it's the dead that choose you too. Oh, no problem, Ellen. Then you have your land spirits in genus Loci. These are your spirits of place. These are your hills, rivers, forests, crossroads, ruins, essentially anything really. Every land has its consciousness, memory, and guardians. How they affect soul work is some soul parts may choose to anchor themselves to the land where the trauma occurred. Some spirits may hold soul fragments for safekeeping until you are ready to come and get them. Land spirits may also offer protection or challenge until honored properly. Offerings for them are clean water, food, biodegradable gifts, care of the land, and even acknowledgement. And then, of course, you have your unquiet spirits and interfering entities. Ah, don't we just love them? Some spirits are not guides or allies, but unresolved beings, which I've been dealing quite a bit with them. Anyway, but these include your earthbound dead, the spirits of trauma sites, entities created from neglect, abuse, or psychic attacks, parasites, or spiritual attachments formed from soul wounding. These spirits are not inherently evil, but they may feed on your pain, fear, or trauma and make it a hell of a lot harder for you. Oh, Haley. I love you, but if you couldn't hear the sound, yeah. They are very frustrating to deal with when you are doing this. And sometimes I have to deal with them just to get to the teenage part of me. And they suck. How to discern them is you are feeling drained after a guide speaks to you, repeating nightmares, obsessive thoughts, or unexplained illness. A spirit offers you help but feels very controlling, deceptive, or angry. And you are told to give power instead of reclaiming it. Yes! See, Gina, that's why I'm glad you're here, babe. Gina says they are a pain in the butt. People get them attached all the time. And it sucks. They are little freaking vampires. And it's hard to get rid of them, too. Some protections that you can do to essentially protect yourself from them is clean, energetic hygiene, smoke baths, shielding, protections, wards, all the good things. Working with a guardian or deity for clearing, banishing or boundary setting rituals. That is, honestly, that one's going to be your better bet. That and working with a deity on top of it, those are going to be your best friends. And then cord cutting and renegotiation of permission. So how do you build spiritual relationships, both ethically and effectively? Always start with consent and clarity. Always ask, do you come in truth and may I speak with you? State who you are and why you're reaching out. Consent is key for both you and the spirit. And why I say that is because a lot of people here lately that at least I've noticed, especially on, and I know we hate it, witch talk, a lot of people say that, oh, I work with Persephone and I work with, Aries and they're just great and they're this, that, and the other. But you can tell the energy is off. And when it comes to it, you've really got to pay attention, because if the energy is off, you can tell they may work with them, but how do I put it? The exchange isn't there. There's no, the deity's energy itself isn't there, if that makes sense. And I've noticed it a lot with people claiming that they work with certain deities and they may do everything right, but the deity is not ready to work with them and the energy is absent, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. But that is why consent is very key for both you, the spirit, or the deity that you are working with, at least in my opinion. But also, don't pressure or manipulate beings to appear or speak, because it can also come in spiritual whiplash. I love you guys, but be careful. Also, learn their language. Spirits often communicate through symbols such as animals, songs, numbers, objects, or even appearing repeatedly. Dreams or sudden thoughts, visions, feelings, or pressure on the body, and divination tools. Track their patterns. Keep a spirit journal if you can. and trust your intuition, but verify with divination, dreams, or other guides. Crystal says you cannot force a deity or being to work with you just because you want them to. And that is so freaking yes. I agree. Gina says cracks that spiritual whip. I love you guys. And here's another big thing too that people do but don't follow through. When you are making offerings and you are making promises, keep them. Keep them. Because offerings build trust and it's repetition. What I mean is if you do it religiously like clockwork, it's better. Because they don't have, like, no offering or promise has to be elaborate, but it better damn well be intentional. I could get into this one, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to. Some examples of this is a candle lit with whispered thanks, a poem or drawing in their name, tending a plant they favor, or donating to a cause that reflects their values. Never promise an offering you don't intend to keep. Because I promise you, they will get you. Spirit relationships are built on integrity, not false hopes or promises. Ooh, ooh. Gina says, I mean, I personally don't attempt to force them as I know better, but a nice, healthy give and take and give, trade relationship works so much better. And sometimes if it has to be that way, then yes. Mary says, true deities have come around and I've connected and interacted with them, but I haven't worked with them. Okay. Ronette says, yes, keep your words true. Crystal says, they remember when you fucked up in your last life with them. You think they want to still work with them after they know what you did? No, ma'am. And she's right. She's right. But stay protected and discern carefully. Not all spirits want what's best for you. And I've had to learn that the hard way since inviting little tricksters in. But just like humans, some are manipulative, fragmented, or even lost themselves. Signs of a trustworthy spirit honors your no. They know when to stop, or when you tell them no, they stop. It encourages your sovereignty. It sounds like I'm trying to say my name and I'm not. But anyway, not dependence. Their energy feels empowering and not draining, and you feel clear and not confused after your interactions. Protection tools, again, warding. These are your salt, sigils, iron stones like obsidian or black tourmaline, banishing rituals or cord cuttings, spiritual guardians. These are your deities, ancestors, or guides, and your daily spiritual hygiene. Again, aura brushing, cleansing sprays, shielding meditations, whatever may you. Keep the relationship living. Spirit work is ongoing. Like any relationship, it requires listening, showing up, apologizing when you've messed up, and being open to change. And sometimes knowing when to say goodbye. Whew, we're almost there, guys. Alright, guys, so it is currently 9 o'clock. I'm gonna cut it off here. We still have 2 more sections to go, and we are currently on page 37 of 53. So, I'm going to go ahead and hop off, and I cannot wait to see you guys later for the next one. I hope you guys are excited to finish this. I'm excited to bring it back to you guys. Just make sure that if you are replaying, you still comment throughout. Now, for those that have join me in the live session. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys love it. Again, I may try to do this sometime in part 2, sometime in August, or yeah, sometime in August. Hopefully relatively soon, rather than later. But I love you guys, and I love that you enjoyed this. Have a great night, ladies. Blessed be.